Hello, how are you doing, good people? I hope you're doing great. Myself, I'm doing fine, and welcome back to Verified So, and also welcome to this video. As you can now tell, is that this video will discuss into details about the documentations that you will be required to have throughout the DV lottery process, and especially so during the interview. And without wasting much time, let's dive directly into this video. And with me here is a document from the official website, from the state.gov website. And it is outlining all the documents that you will need. Let's go bit by bit as I explain into details what you should do with these documents. As you can see is that you should fill in the DS260 form, and it's an online submission form. Then after submitting the DS260 form, what you're supposed to do is to print out the confirmation page. It's normally a single page. You must print it out. But if you forgot to print it out, then you can access to print the page at any time that you can find. It's not necessarily that you just do it immediately you finish filling the DS260 form. You can come at any other time and access the page for you to print it. And then we have some important note that I'm going to explain, that if your family status changes after you have applied for the DV lottery, then you should indicate the change in the DS260 form. And an example is if you got married after the DV lottery entry, then indicate it in the DS260 form and add your spouse, the legally married spouse. If you happen to have gotten a child, also add the child in the DS260 form. And number two is if you had a spouse or children prior to submitting your original entry, then it is doomed for you. You cannot add him or her into the DS260 form. And if you do, you will get disqualified because this is regarded as fraud. At all entries, you should clearly speak the truth. Add all the kids that you have. Add your spouse. Never lie. If you do so, you will be disqualified. Now, when going to the supporting documents, now, these are the documents that you will be required to have, especially so during the interview. And before I begin going through these documents, I should make this big note that majority, if not all of these documents, you have to start processing them or organizing them immediately you realize you have been selected a winner. And I say so for you to prevent last minute rush, and in some other time you delaying the interview because you were not able to obtain these documents. So immediately you realize you get selected, start processing these documents. And above this, there are documents that you might not be having. For example, you might not be having the passport for your dependents, and you are supposed to include them in the DS260 form. So immediately you realize that you have been selected a winner, start preparing these documents to avoid last minute rush or any occurrence. Now, the first document that you are supposed to have, in fact, they are documents. If you have a family, they are the passports. Of course, the passport is mandatory to have. both yours and for your derivatives. So prepare this passport document. The second set of documents are the birth certificates. And these are birth certificate for you and for your members, your derivatives. And note that you should have the original birth certificate together with a notary certified one. So you come with a copy of the notary certified. So have your original document for the birth certificate plus the certified document from your registrar of births. And it is for every single member in your application. And there is a note here: if your birth certificate is unobtainable due to one reason or the other, maybe the government is not willing to produce it, or maybe your records were by any chance destroyed and you cannot access them, then you should provide a statement to that effect from the civil registrar and present it during the interview. So produce a statement from the civil registrar's office and proceed to obtain a secondary evidence of the birth. A baptismal certificate may be used if you got baptized some few days after your birth, but the baptismal that should be used in place of the birth certificate should contain the child's birth date, the place of birth, and the information containing the parentage, both the parents. And if you can as well not obtain the baptismal certificate, then a close relative, and that is either your father or your mother, should prepare a notary certified, stamped by the legal authorities. And the notary certified statement should contain your date of birth, your place of birth, the names of both of the parents, and the maiden name of the mother. So those two options, either a baptismal certificate with all those conditions, or if even the birth certificate cannot be obtained, then a certified notary. Certified notary means that it has been stamped by the legal authorities of your government. And that should be presented by either a father or a mother, and it should contain all those conditions that we've discussed. But if at all you can access your birth certificate, get the birth certificates for every member in your application. And then we have those who are married. If you are married, then this becomes a big duty. Remember, you're not considered married without a legal document. Even if you're living together in traditional marriages, because many countries allow that, and you don't have a document, that is not considered a marriage. So what you're supposed to do is immediately you realize you have been selected a winner, start the procedures of obtaining the legal marriage certificate. And you should present the legal marriage certificate, the original one, plus the notary certified by the registrar of marriages. So, I repeat, an original marriage certificate plus a notary certified one. And in case you broke up, either through separation or any other, like divorce, therefore you also need the divorce papers or the separation documents, the legal ones, notary certified, and also the original separation document or the divorce document. I hope that is clear. And then, if you have changed your name because of any circumstance, you should provide a legal document notifying your change of names. The change of names should be captured in a legal document from the legal office, the civil office. So if you change your name, get a legal and an official document showing that you changed your name. The other set of documents that you will need, they are the photographs, and it is 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters in dimensions, and every single member in your application should have this photograph. So it is a passport size photograph of 5 by 5 centimeters in dimensions, and each member should have the photograph. And then any other document that proves your qualification. If you qualified through academics, you should have the papers, the original papers, plus a copy that is certified of the academic documents. And if you qualify through work experience, also have the work experience document proof. And you should go to the OnNet online database and obtain a printout. That is an additional document that I'm telling you. Go to the OnNet online, and where you checked your job qualification, that page that contains your qualification, also print it out and come with it together with the other documents supporting your work experience. I hope that is clear. The other set of documents for you and your derivatives is the police clearance certificate, commonly known as the PCC. The PCC for every member above 16 years. And we have 3 notes that the country where you are currently living and you've lived there more than 6 months, get the police clearance certificate from that country. The country where you are currently living and you have stayed there for over 6 months now, get the police clearance certificate from that country. The note number 2 is all the countries that you have visited since the age of 16 and you've stayed in those countries for over 1 year. So if after obtaining 16 years of age, then you have moved to different countries, and in those countries you have stayed over 1 year, then you should have the police clearance certificates from those countries. And this is a note that if you have the police clearance from those countries, even if they are now expired, they will be considered legal by the embassy. So even if you obtained the PCC in those years and the PCC is now expired, you can use them in the DV lottery interview. But the point is, every country in which you've lived more than 1 year after the age of 16, then you should have the police clearance certificates. Note number 3 is that any country where you have been arrested, if you have been arrested in any country, regardless of the length of period you've lived in that country, obtain the police clearance certificate from those countries. Very important. And don't forget this. Still on the police clearance certificates, I want to put this clear that the police clearance certificate is considered valid up to 2 years, that is up to 24 months after application. You can apply for the police clearance certificate immediately you realize you have been selected. And by the time you will be going for your interview, it will not have been expired. So if your case number is very low, and that means you will be among the first ones to be interviewed, there's no problem for you to apply for the police clearance certificate immediately you realize you're being selected, because it will not have expired. It takes 24 months for it to expire. I hope that is clear. Therefore, what I mean is, for the United States Embassy, the police clearance certificate is considered valid up to 24 months. The other documents that you will need, and this is for those people that are affected, they are the court and the prison records. The court and the prison records of those people who have ever been convicted. They should present these documents. The other one is the military records. If you have served in the military, obtained a certified military service record and present it during the interview. The other document is the deportation papers. Now, the deportation paper is for all those individuals that have overstayed their stay in the United States and they were deported back to their countries. So if you have ever been deported from the United States, those papers must be presented during the interview. And number two, if you have requested extension of stay or you have changed the status while in the United States, there are documents, and these documents must be presented during the interview. And remember, they have these details. And if you lie, you've never been deported. If you lie, you've never changed status, or you've never requested extension of stay, they have the documents. You will be disqualified. And as we come to the end of this list, remember that the documents that you provide, they should be originals plus copies of the notary certified for some documents, and they should be presented, both of the sets, during the interview. But the original documents will be returned back to you after the interview. And you should make sure that the original documents have been returned back to you. Because if at all it happens, they don't give you back the documents and you leave the embassy, it will be very impossible for you to gain back your documents. So the original documents will be returned back to you, but you should ensure they have been returned back to you. And finally, we have the translations. And these are specifically for those that are not in English or Latvian. They must be accompanied by notary certified English translations. Those are the set of documents that you will need as a DV lottery winner and as you attend your DV lottery interview. This video was very long, but thank you for your patience and watching through this, because the details of this video are very important to you. And please like the video, support the channel, subscribe to the channel, share it out, and let's meet in the next video.